Hello and welcome to another episode of Adulting with Adam. Today we're going to try to make a spinach artichoke dip in a crock pot. Do you have a crock pot? If you don't, you can't fuck with this recipe, so go get one. A quick note before we start. Spinach dip is great with all sorts of things, from pita chips to pretzels to regular pita bread to your bare hands. But my favorite way to shovel spinach dip into my face is with fresh baked soft pretzel sticks. The spinach dip takes about 2 hours in the crock pot to cook, so while that's happening, I'm gonna make some soft pretzels from scratch. However, I'm gonna split that out into another video. So if you're interested, be on the lookout for that. So let's get right to it and look at our ingredients. Okay, here's what you're gonna need to make this stuff. You're gonna need some green onions, some fresh green onions. You're gonna need some cream cheese. You're gonna need some frozen chopped spinach. You will, of course, need marinated artichoke hearts. I have two different kinds here because I wanted an exact amount and I couldn't get that from just 1 or 2 jars of the same size. And these ones are grilled. And these ones are just regular marinated ones. So I don't know, I've never tried the grilled ones before, but maybe they're good, so we'll give those a shot. You're gonna need some diced green chilies. You're gonna need paprika, onion powder, lemon juice, black pepper, salt, and this is pink Himalayan rock salt, but you don't have to go that fancy with the shit. You can just use regular ass salt. Some olive oil, and what else have I got? Oh yeah, why don't I roast some pine nuts and then kind of chop those up and throw those in. You're also gonna need a beverage because, as everyone knows, spinach dip is thirsty work. First things first, you're gonna wanna roast those pine nuts. You wanna get a medium low. Then you take your shitty, dirty pan and get it on the heat. This pan's not actually dirty. It's just old and all of the non-stick shit's been scraped off from cleaning it a bunch of times. At any rate, we're gonna let this get hot and then we're gonna throw our pine nuts in. Nah, fuck that. We're gonna throw them in now. Why are we waiting? How many do you think we need? Think that's good? Okay. Well, that's not enough to save. We're doing them all. Okay, you just want to let these sit in here until they get fragrant and like start to turn a golden brown. Any more than that, and I think they're considered burned. I always tend to go overboard with these, but the trick, as I understand, is to keep them kind of moving around, because if they sit in one spot for too long, that side will burn. All right, now these are toasted up pretty nice. You can see that. We'll turn off the heat on our stove, and I'm just gonna drop them right here on this cutting board to let them cool. And shake them around so they spread out. We'll let them cool down before we try to do the next step, and you'll see why in a second. When you watch a cooking video with somebody who actually knows what they're doing and they crush stuff with a knife, it always looks real nice and it just stays under there. But whenever I try it, whatever I'm trying to crush ends up shooting out from under the knife and going all over my kitchen and making a huge mess, and I lose half of the ingredients. So if you're not all that great with that kind of stuff like I am, then I have a small hack I can show you. Go get yourself a little plastic bag like this. These have cooled down considerably, so we can put them in the bag without risking melting it. Melted plastic in your food, I don't recommend it. Can't say I've never done it, but come on, get in there, come on. Oh, for fuck's sake. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so then you try to get the air out of the bag and seal it up. Get them distributed relatively evenly. All right, like that. And then you put your knife on there, and then you just crush them. Yeah, that's one more. Okay. So now that you've got smashed pine nuts, whoa, and a big hole in the bag, you can just start dumping that stuff right into the crock pot. Porter, what are you barking about, man? What? I don't know. He's upset. That's probably good. We don't want to overdo it. You may recognize this knife from my other video. This is my super flexible, super cheap. I don't know, a knife this style with like this kind of like half a cleaver, but it's really small and it's got a basically entirely flat edge. I know that's got a name. I don't know what the name of it is. I can tell that I've lost some of the edge on this knife. You just want to hone it. If you've got a knife block, you probably have a steel. If you don't have a steel, you can go buy one of these for not much. Like you can get a decent one for $10 at Bed Bath & Beyond. So if you've ever watched any of those like chef shows and stuff, they're always, I don't do it that fast, but I can show you how. And what you want to do is you take the edge of your blade and you want kind of between a 30 and 45 degree angle, because what you're really doing, the sharp edge of the blade is not, it's not at this, I guess you could say angle, where you see this kind of bevel and then it bevels on the other side. That's not actually the bevel of the blade. There is a much, much finer, much smaller, and actually... Okay, that was super weird. I think I made a cutting gesture with my finger. 45 degree angle, and you just start at the top, go down the steel, one side, then the other. Here's the thing, keep your fingers behind the little guard. I've actually cut myself because I was lazy and was like, had a finger out and then went down and... So you do that a couple times and now there's a really good edge on there. I don't know, how much do we want in there? Just gonna, 2 fistfuls? How's that look to you? Does that look good? I think we need a little more. There's no other onion in this dish, so we want, you know what, screw it, let's put it all in. Next we have to thaw and rinse and drain our frozen spinach. First of all, you gotta get this bag open. And for that job, I always recommend the Spinach Artichoke Paramilitary 2. We got our spinach, just kind of get it into a strainer. Run, some slightly warm water over it. You'll melt the ice that's holding the chunks together. And you need to do that because as you throw it into the crock pot, you really want it to be broken up so it can be mixed. Don't be afraid to get your hands in here. Doesn't need to be hot water, just, room temp. You're just kind of working through it with your fingers helps break it up. That's pretty good. So now we just want to drain it. And it's already in this strainer, which makes that job kind of easy to start with. Get it all down together and just kind of punch it. Then you really want it pretty dry because you don't want to add a lot of water to this dip. It's going to have enough moisture. So pick it up in kind of a fist-sized wad and really, use some power and squeeze it out. So that's pretty good and dry. And we'll grab this chunk next and do the same thing. Just kind of Hulk smash it. You see all that moisture draining out? We don't need that. All right, this is easy too. You just take your spinach wad that you have rinsed and drained and squeezed, and you just kind of shred it up into here. You don't need to be too delicate about it. Shred that up. Next, wipe your hands off and then let your dog in. Let's let Porter in. Oh God, he's getting rained on good. Come on, buddy, come on. Sorry, holy shit. Oh, sorry, puppy. Poor guy. Did you get rained on? Did you get rained on? You did. You did get rained on. Oh my God, you're soaking wet. Yeah, that's it. Rub it into the carpet. That's right, rub it into the carpet. No, I still don't have... It's spinach. I gotta get back to work. I'm trying to make a video. Jeez. So let's break it all up with your giant, giant hands. And then you're good. Clean up after yourself, you fucking pig. Next, we're gonna rinse and drain our marinated artichokes. So let's get right to it. Did I say rinse? You don't want to rinse these. Just drain them. No need to rinse them. Oh wow, those look really good. Look at that. Man, those are nice and charred. That's going to be awesome, I think. Yeah, you don't want to rinse these because they're in an oil marinade in these jars. And it's good stuff. Just kind of shake them around, get the excess oil off of them. Okay, so those are drained, and they're already quartered, but they actually do need to be chopped up quite a bit more. So we're going to do that too. There are some things you got to consider when you're cutting these up. So I'm going to try to show you. First of all, you kind of just generally want them into like bits about that big. You don't really need to get it any smaller than that. I've transferred them to a bowl here so they're easier for me to get to. Sometimes I've noticed with these jarred artichokes that the outer leaf that's on here is probably too close to whatever was the actual outside of the artichoke, and so it can be a little tough. And it's going to cook for a long time, but this is an extremely fibrous plant. In fact, it's spiky and evil looking. I don't know if you've ever dealt with a fresh artichoke, but I have never seen another plant that made more of the statement of "fuck you, don't eat me" than an artichoke. I have no idea who the brave soul was that ate one for the first time, but I thank whoever that. See, this is too tough. I could tell the knife didn't want to go through that. So you set that aside, and then the rest is good. And this is going to take forever. This is probably the most tedious part of making this artichoke dip. I'll add, don't be afraid of these ugly bits at the end. That's actually the heart of the artichoke, which is the most tender and tastiest part. So it doesn't look all that pretty, especially when it's, quartered and marinated in this stuff. It almost looks like something you wouldn't want to eat, but believe me, it is. You want that in there. It's good stuff. So don't be afraid of it. All right, so we've cleaned up a little bit, washed our knife, washed our cutting board, washed our hands, and we got all our artichokes cut up. So that looks pretty good. There's not much left to put in here. We still need the cream cheese and our seasonings and sauces. Oh, and our green chilies. Let's start with these. Next up, you want to add your sour cream. These packages of Philadelphia cream cheese are 8 ounces each. So I bought 2 and we'll use 1.5 of those. Just cut them and toss them in. Whew! Almost went off the countertop. And just give it a stir. Oh, come on, divide. Divide. This crock pot is gonna be like just barely big enough. Half of this one. I can go on that one. And we'll cut this up too. And this is foil, so it should basically reseal. I don't know what I'll use this for, but it's still good, so no sense wasting it. I've decided to make a few last-minute adjustments. So I'm just watching this come together. I'm thinking, how about some garlic powder instead of the onion salt? There's a lot of green onions in here. We're not going to need any onion powder or onion salt. So we're going to use a little garlic powder, and I'm sure that's enough. We are going to dump a little bit of paprika. We don't need much of that. Get our Tabasco in there. That's probably plenty. Some lemon juice. And that's probably good too. And then I thought, let's make sure this is like good and creamy. So how about a little sour cream? About that much. And some mayonnaise. About that much. All that's left to do now, add a little olive oil. I don't think we're going to need a ton, but you want some. Keep in mind the artichokes were completely saturated in oil too, so the oil in the artichokes is going to mix with everything else. But this recipe does call for some, so that's probably good. I'm sure that's good. And then some salt and pepper. And some black pepper. Black pepper makes everything better. I think we're ready to stir this up and get it going. I'm not going to be able to get this too thoroughly mixed just because it's still cold. And you know, nothing's melted, but we can at least get it kind of evenly distributed here. Because at the moment, all of the onions and the spinach is at the bottom of this thing, and that's not where it belongs. I don't know if it could burn. It's probably pretty oily down there, and I think the heat in a crock pot actually kind of travels through all the food pretty well, generally. But, you know, why take any chances? Why take chances? Oh yeah, I think the proportions of this, God damn it, are pretty good. As this goes, you'll want to come over here and stir it up with some frequency. So this can cook from anywhere to, I usually let it go for 4 hours, but I noticed that it's looking pretty well done after 2. So hopefully we can get it done in 2, because it's already 8 p.m. And in typical fashion, I started this too late, and it's gonna be fucking midnight before I eat. It's a good thing I'm just feeding myself. All right, close that fucker up, set it on low, and forget about it. All right, this has been going for about 30 minutes, and it's much softer. So now we actually ought to be able to stir it up a little bit more, because the stuff is on the bottom is a little more melty. Oh, look, see, it's starting to happen, people. It's starting to happen. Oh, look at all that. That was a big clod. Now, focus, man. What the fuck? There we go. Yeah. Okay. Oh, we're getting somewhere now. Yeah, I'm getting this pretty well mixed. So there's still about an hour and 30 minutes left on my timer. And it may end up going for longer than that. But remember, you got a window of about 2 hours for this to, like, continue to cook, you know, before you got a problem or it would start to burn or get funky. So, I think we're all right. All right, that's it for the spinach artichoke dip. Fuck. All right, that's it for the spinach artichoke. All right, that's it for the spinach artichoke dip. If you're like me and your preferred dip shovel is a soft pretzel, click on the, I'll put it up somewhere, click on the thing and watch me try to do that.